Although this was a joyous holiday for many, it was not joyful for all. We had, unfortunately, some rather high-profile events to occur that were distressing to us. And it is all preventable, unfortunately, the nature of the beast of where we live, and it remains concerning to us. On Sunday, our community was shaken. There was a tragic act of violence in a place where people should feel safe, a freaking parking lot at Target on Abercorn Street. It needs to be said that the parking lot is private property, but what began as an alleged argument over a parking space or something along parking escalated into gun violence, resulting in the loss of an adult male's life. Certainly no disagreement over a parking space or anything else is worth someone losing their life and should never end in the loss of life. So our hearts and prayers go out to the victims' families and loved ones. We recognize that this is senseless, this is foolishness. And unfortunately, it appears to be the world that we live in. People were quick to say what I could have done or should have done to prevent that. You can't prevent stupid people from doing stupid things. And you can't prevent people from doing dangerous things. But I thank the Savannah Police Department. They had a swift response. The suspect is in custody, and the investigation remains active. But this tragedy really underscores the urgency of the work that we are doing to reduce gun violence, to strengthen our conflict resolution efforts, and to improve community safety. Also, during the holidays, we had a violent incident at Frazier Homes, which also resulted in a loss of life. A senseless act, again, that has deeply impacted our city, particularly for those who knew and loved the victim. I've said before, and I'll say again, and will continue to say that violence anywhere in our city is unacceptable. We have someone in custody, and we continue to work closely with law enforcement, residents, and community partners to address immediate safety concerns. Now, again, Frazier Homes is not owned by the city. It's not public property, so to speak. It is part of the Housing Authority of Savannah. But we're working with them to continue to work on long-term preventions, opportunities for support. We've been out there in the past to address issues of lighting and issues of a treatable blight, so to speak, that lends itself to better police protection and surveillance and cameras. So we continue that work. That work extends beyond enforcement and really requires continued investment in our neighborhoods and our people. And then, of course, we are still actively investigating the acid attack in Forsyth Park. There's no new information for me to share at this time, but we want to make it clear that this case has not gone cold. I remain in contact with Ashley, who was our victim, and I continue to keep her in my thoughts. Our police department continues to work diligently, following leads, and remains committed to solving this case. There are rewards that have been put out, and so we hope someone will take advantage of those, and we certainly will share additional information when it is appropriate and responsible to do so. That's not our narrative, though, and I'm not going to minimize anyone's fear. But I'm also not going to accept exaggeration, misinformation, or political theater as truth. Savannah, like every city in America, has challenges with people and have challenges with crime, and I've never denied that. What I have said and what I will continue to say is that facts matter. The data is clear, and violent crime is down by and large. But that does not mean that every day is perfect, and it does not mean that every incident isn't tragic. The reality is for us is that we are a city of 150,000 people that easily swells to 300,000 people a day who work and play here. and then we're visited by 16 million people every year. Now, the majority of those come to our city, and they have a wonderfully safe experience. It should be that for everyone. And the reality is, until it's like that for everyone, then we have work to do. But although one act of violence is one too many, we're not going to let one singular or a couple of senseless acts of violence define who our city is. What does not help is recycling fear or pretending that recalls and blame shifting or online outrage will fix anything. The most interesting thing about it was over the week, folks that were saying the most about what was happening in Savannah don't even live in Savannah. But they had everything to say about what was happening in Savannah. No, focus on where you live. For us, we will continue to work. We recognize that the fear-mongering does not protect families, the fear-mongering does not prevent crime, and the fear-mongering does not make neighborhoods safe. Doing the work does, and we're not going to stand around pointing out fingers. Your city, law enforcement, prosecutors, and community partners continue to be engaged every single day, focused on accountability, focused on prevention, focused on enforcement, and focused on intervention. We are confronting real issues that people face head on. We're not ignoring them, and we're certainly not fueling panic for political gain. Perception is powerful, but perception is not the same as reality. And headlines and social media doesn't define Savannah. Facts, data, and sustained effort do. The old folks used to say that a broken clock is right 2 times a day. And so we can acknowledge fear, and we can recognize challenges, and we can still be honest about our progress. Those things are not mutually exclusive. And so I've never said that Savannah does not have an issue. We're like everyone else, but I have said that we are addressing it with facts, responsibility, and action. And we will continue to do the hard, consistent work required to keep Savannah safe and make Savannah safer, not for likes, not for clicks, not for noise, but for the people who live, work, worship, and raise their families here. In the words of Forrest Gump, that's all I got to say about that. Later this week, we will highlight a major investment in Savannah's future through the Coastal Georgia Regional Water Partnership. This landmark initiative is backed by more than $500 million in state funding and brings together Savannah, Bryan County, and Effingham County to modernize and expand water supply infrastructure. This phase project will strengthen water treatment capacity, it will improve our transmission systems, and it will enhance long-term resiliency through upgrades that are planned through 2028 and beyond. Savannah continues to provide some of the most affordable drinking water in the Southeast, and we remain committed to transparency, including compliance with the updated EPA lead and copper rule requirements, and public access to our service line inventory through an interactive map. Also, I want to invite the public to join us on Saturday, January the 17th at 3:00 p.m. for a community celebration and a renaming ceremony honoring the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Our beloved Civic Center will be officially renamed the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Civic Center, reflecting both Savannah's history and its future. This is a free, family-friendly event. It will include opportunities for reflection and interactive activities and a community memory collection effort to preserve stories, photographs, and experiences connected to the Civic Center and Dr. King's lasting impact on our city. We will also embody the spirit of the citywide MLK Observance Day celebrations, where I remember as a college student, thousands would gather after the MLK parade on Monday in the MLK Arena. And so we have partnered with the Martin Luther King Observance Day Association and the Interdenominational Ministerial Alliance to experience the citywide collaboration and camaraderie that highlighted our annual Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. experience here in Savannah. So I'm inviting everyone to join us on Saturday, January the 17th at 3:00 p.m., Saturday at 3 p.m. of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. weekend in the Johnny Mercer Theater as we dedicate Savannah's Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Civic Center. And so we're looking forward to that. Also, I was deeply honored this week to once again be recognized by Georgia Trends magazines as one of the state's most influential Georgians. I think 100 most influential Georgians for 2026. This is my 6th consecutive year receiving this distinction. And for me, this recognition is not about one individual. Every time you say my name, you say Savannah, Georgia. So it really reflects the collective work of Team Savannah, our city council, our community partners, and our residents. Savannah's continued progress in public safety, housing, infrastructure, and inclusive and thoughtful growth is the result of shared leadership and collaboration. So I'm thankful for the recognition, but I also recognize that I serve a great city that is always recognized. This week, your Savannah City Council will reconvene for the first time in 2026 with an agenda that's relatively light by our standards, but always significant. We invite you to join us at 2:00 p.m. in our chambers here at City Hall, or as always on our Facebook, YouTube, or website platforms, or of course on our award-winning SGTV. We hope to see you there. As I've said before, our public safety is a shared responsibility, and anonymous tips through Crime Stoppers can and do save lives. One of the things I'm proudest of in our public safety efforts was my initiation of a opportunity to help get individuals or dangerous individuals off of the streets. So for a year now, we have been keeping the top 10 most wanted list updated to reflect the most dangerous individuals currently at large in our community. And this has served well. This public notice has really not only informed the public, but also has given the opportunity for the public to be involved and for them to inform us. We say again that eventually we will find you. We would much rather you come see us than for us to come and see you or find you at a time that is not convenient for you. You know, go ahead, start the new year off right, address the issues of the past, lawyer up and come see us. If you hear the name of someone that you know, you can call us directly at 912-525-3124, 912-525-3124, or you can submit an anonymous tip on the Savannah Police Department's mobile app, or you can call my office, 912-651-4444, 912-651-4444. Always willing to talk and be of service and be of help. If you're concerned about calling those places, you can call us. So we've added 3 new names to the list for 2026. We're looking for Taisha Jackson for aggravated assault. We're looking for Tyshawn Simmons for aggravated stalking and criminal trespassing. We're looking for Malik Davis for aggravated assault and possession of a firearm. And the 7 that are carryovers from 2025 are Corey Underwood, who's wanted for aggravated assault, Rictavius Gilliard, who's wanted for aggravated assault, aggravated stalking, Tobias Alston, who's wanted for aggravated assault and possession of a firearm. Anthony Brown, who's wanted for aggravated assault and possession of a firearm. Elanaxi Castillo, who's wanted for battery and cruelty to children. Timothy Patterson, who's wanted for rape and aggravated assault. Malik Williams, who's wanted for aggravated battery. And we're just asking everyone to do your part. The fact is that someone knows these folks, someone knows who these folks are, someone knows where these folks are. And the fact of the matter is that you might know them, but the reality is they're dangerous individuals. And so we want you to do your part. You don't have to put yourself on Front Street. You can let us do what we do. So if you hear your name, turn yourself in. And if you know who these folks are, turn them in. And as always, you can find the list at savannahpd.org, savannahpd.org /most wanted, savannahpd.org /most wanted. And as we begin this new year, we stay together, we stand together. We stand together against violence, against ignorance, for accountability, and really in support of one another. Savannah is, and we remain, even in the 250th year of our nation, we remain resilient, we remain compassionate and strong, and we will continue to do the work necessary to ensure that the city is safe and thriving for everyone. So that ends my prepared remarks, and so we will entertain any questions we have. If you have questions and you're on Facebook or Instagram, and that's Mayor Johnson SAV, Mayor Johnson SAV, or City of Savannah, if you have questions you would like to ask, feel free to put those in the chat, and I will get to you after our media partners. So we're going to start here. Oh, I'm double teamed again. You were missing, and so I was just wondering what was going on.
Good morning.
Good morning. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you as well. And so Franco with Channel 1 News. As a public safety reporter, I've been writing a lot. I'm sure as everyone else is also reporting on all the gun crimes that we have seen in Savannah. And you mentioned today and on your Facebook post on Sunday that the city is reducing gun violence. I was wondering what initiatives do you feel like you've headed and led to do so within the city?
That's a good question, and I appreciate that. So I think some context is important here. There are things that we control and there are things that we don't control. Georgia is a constitutional carry state. And so therefore, people can have guns by the Constitution. That is always challenging for us. Likewise, we have people that have stolen guns. I think one of the things I look most to is the fact that, I think the last count was over 30%, and Nikki can get me that information, but we instituted an ordinance to say that you don't need to leave your gun in an unlocked car. And last time I checked, we were like 30% down, which means less guns are stolen, less guns find their way onto the street, less guns find their way in the black market. I think our top 10 list, again, there are people on there that were wanted for violent gun crimes. Again, getting them off the street is really, really important. I think people don't recognize that we have a very complex criminal justice system. The city of Savannah, our role in this is we make the arrest. And I will tell you, for our homicides, we're at like 85% clearance rate for 2025, which means, 85% of the time, we're going to get you. And so we have amazing law enforcement personnel. But then we turn them over to a criminal justice system that we don't control. We turn them over to prosecutors that we don't control. We turn them over to judges that we don't control, a state system that we don't control. And I think what's frustrating for us is oftentimes that they end up coming back. And we see them a lot sooner than we should. And if there are not any severe and dire consequences for pulling triggers, then the propensity is there to do it again. Something else I want to add is that we hired a U.S. attorney. We actually hired a Savannah City attorney that is platooned in the U.S. Attorney's Office, who has done an amazing job. If we find gun crimes that have elevated to the federal statute or gang crimes that have elevated to that, we're prosecuting them federally. As a matter of fact, one of the individuals accused in the August Mall shooting, we're treating that federally. So I think, for the things that we're able to control, again, I'm still out here buying guns from kids. If they want to, get rid of a gun, we'll buy it off of them. Because, again, we know that if a gun is not present and a gun is not involved, then there are less opportunities for people to be involved in that. So I think those are the things that we're able to control. We have reduced our police vacancy rate. I think we just had a big class. I think we started the year in the hundreds. We're probably down to 85. Through attrition, it kind of fluctuates every day. We continue to invest in technology. We have a $972,000 grant from the Savannah College of Art and Design that we've used really for more cameras, more flock, more technology to help us to really increase our force multiplier in the technology space. So I think, again, for the things we're able to control, we control. We can't control people's children. And we can't control people's dumb decisions. And again, over a parking space. I mean, there are times, we've all had those moments where, and it's happened to me just this weekend. You're going down and you see the space and you see it and you vector over to get to it, and then somebody turns around and jumps into it. Happened to me twice. The second time, the guy saw me motioning for the space, and the person pulled out, and he almost cut me off to do that. Now, for me, I probably used some words that were not in the Sunday school commentary. But it was important for me at that point to say, you know what, it's not worth it. I'll find another space. And so, again, these are people issues about how we deal with conflict. I think we'll continue to work with the things that, we will. I want to, be able to say, I think we end the year up with like 3 more homicides. I think ended up with like 28 homicides, which was up 3. But it was equal to what we were in 2023. When you take out the domestic situations there and the ones where individuals have had knowledge with each other, again, we're really below 20, probably below 15 when you look at that. But our aggravated assaults with guns are down. Significantly. We had like 305 in 2024. We're down to 256. And I think that's, also very, very important. I think, we're controlling what we can control.
I'm glad that you mentioned the gun ordinance that you passed and then it was recently overturned.
I'm not familiar with it overturned. The judge made a decision regarding a singular defendant. Okay. We still have a gun ordinance and we're still enforcing it.
Gotcha. Are you going to challenge that judge's decision?
No, his decision is decision. Our ordinance is still our ordinance. And so I suspect in this election year, they tried last year, the Georgia legislature tried to change the law to preempt us from doing that. And I think they did that because they recognized that our law was constitutional, which is why the legislature tried to change it. But, time kind of ran out of it. I think they'll try again. But no, we still have this gun ordinance. It's actually a car ordinance involving unlocked guns. Again, I think it's reasonable. I don't know what people are so upset about. I think those of us that carry, those of us who understand, are professionals in that space, will tell you that gun safety is the #1 rule of gun ownership. Thank you. You good? Okay.
Morning, Mayor.
Good morning.
Do you want me to ask you my fun question at the start or the end?
Go to the end.
Okay.
I'm locked in the zone now, so.
Gotcha. Talking about this Target parking lot shooting, have you been in contact with the family of the victim or either party in that?
I have not as of yet.
And so I'm kind of curious, the acid attack, this parking lot attack, these are things that are tough to manage. I remember you saying, you know, we're trying to control what we can control, but seeing these that might be, you know, out of your, you know, jurisdiction in the sense of how do we stop these, how are you guys, you know, having conversations with SPD about trying to get that?
I mean, these are anomalies. I mean, again, I've been in law enforcement in this community, you know, easily for the last 30 years. I graduated from the police academy in 1994. So just tell you how long. I've never, ever heard anything in this community regarding acid. I mean, it's just, I mean, we were talking about it, it was like, where do you even get acid from? I just, you know, no, and people are like, I don't know. I mean, and then you have to carry it and transport it, and it just seems really weird to me. And so, I mean, I don't know how you know, prepare for that. Like, how do you prepare for snow? I mean, it's just such an anomaly. And then again, you know, we have these road rage incidents that happen across the nation every single day. Singular incidents. This was a private parking lot. So I'm not sure how we would police a private parking lot. If there's an accident in the target parking lot, we don't investigate those because it's a private parking lot. This is private space. Again, from someone, as I understand, that people loved and was not armed. And somebody just decided they were going to go ahead and shoot them. I don't know what, you know, we have on social media all of these police chiefs and all of these law enforcement folks that just still have no idea what they're talking about. Oh, you should have done this, you should have did this, you should have did this. You know, the reality is that we control the things we can control. We need people to make better and smarter decisions. And then I think, again, people who have the propensity for violence, we have to get them off our streets.
And then we're kind of entering, as I'm kind of dawning at parade season that's coming up. And after all these, you know, violent crimes that have come, like the Fraser home shooting as well, I remember right after both of those, the acid and the Fraser homes, you know, SPD patrol increased heavily in the area. And so is that going to be a similar case when it comes to these, you know, parades, these big events that are going on? What exactly is, you know, your guys' plan as a city to try and make sure, you know, nothing like that happens during these big events where a lot of people are going to be around each other?
Well, we manage big events, and we've managed big events for years. And the reality is we've been blessed so far not to have violent events during it. I mean, we have an emergency operations plan that goes full in. Not only Savannah Police, but we also engage partners from our neighboring jurisdictions to assist us. You know, people want to come out and be able to have a good time. And so, you know, part of tragic incidents is to make sure that we are present, and our strategy is also to ensure that we're able to get additional information as we need it. But, you know, again, we have the Martin Luther King Parade in just a couple of weeks, and then we have St. Patrick's Day. You know, we'll address it. Again, there's just some things we don't control. We just don't control. And until we can control people, we can't control, you know, what people do. And so the things that we can control, we will be present. We will use technology, we will leverage technology. We will use both uniformed and non-uniformed officers and use intelligence, be smart. We'll look at and navigate social media because that's often a treasure trove of information, and we'll do what we can.
All right, and so I used to be a runner, not anymore. But my New Year's resolution was to start running more. I'm curious, as the mayor of Savannah, what might your New Year's resolutions be for the city? You got to work with me here.
No, actually, well, personally, I mean, I think, you know, self-care is not selfish. And so for me, personally, it was water, drink more water. I hate water, but drink more water and get more sleep. So I average maybe 3.5 to 4 hours. So I'm trying to get to 6. And so I've been working to be able to do that. For the city, the New Year's resolution is really to make it to 2027, to continue implementing our strategic plan, to be unabashedly clear that all means all, and that we're going to continue to engage people and be very active and forthright. We're going to be transparent. We're going to be truthful. We're going to be thoughtful and thorough. in the things that we do. Again, as I've shared with you all many times, if it's bad news, you're going to hear from us first. We want to be transparent with you all, and I've made that clear to our organization. That's where we're going to be. You're going to see a thoughtful thought process in one of the things that we do. We want to be transparent and truthful at all times. And so those are my New Year's resolutions. We continue to do that. And again, I think we have an excellent team, and we are poised and prepared to move forward in that. In our media space, you see Miss Nikki here with us, and she's been an amazing asset to us. So she'll help do a better job of keeping me organized, which is sometimes like herding cattle. But she'll manage. She's kept me on task so far. So
Thank you for having me.
thank you.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
So I have two questions for you.
Sure.
One, the city of Savannah being awarded the $2 million in federal funding through the U.S. Department of Transportation Safe Streets and Roads for All to
Yay.
reduce fatal crashes and strengthen transportation. Did you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, again, good work brings on more good work. We recognize that in our city, which is a beautiful walking city, we are trying to get to the point of our Vision Zero pledge that we ultimately have zero incidents of fatalities, both in vehicle accidents and in pedestrian injuries and fatalities. We recognize that that comes with some work. And we continue to do that. Obviously, the grant helps us in a big way to be able to do that. It helps us as a force multiplier in the work that we're already doing. We want people to be able to do better, and we recognize that some of it is the built environment, crosswalks and signs and speed bumps. If you notice from the SPLOST, we have put in more for what they call traffic calming devices. But on the other end of it, we have to also recognize that some of it is, behavior. Again, I was coming here today, and someone is walking through the crosswalk on their phone. I mean, literally. And, I had the right of way, but they were walking and looking on their phone. So we just need people to exercise more grace. We're grateful for the grant opportunity. We're going to make the most of it.
And again, going kind of back to the crime conversation.
Sure.
I know you said over and over again, y'all can only do, you can only control what you can control.
Mm-hmm.
What's in your wheelhouse, I guess. But
Yes.
talking about the Frazier Holmes shooting, we talked with Alderman Dietrich Leggett a little bit about that, and he had mentioned going to the Housing Authority and kind of working with them. I know you were talking about lighting and things like that out there. What has that conversation been, if you could share any further?
We've done that for quite some time, and we continue those conversations. The challenge is a couple of things. First of all, is that, again, the Frazier Homes, Yamacraw, Caton Homes, these are not city-owned facilities. These are residential units that are owned by the Housing Authority. The mayor appoints the board members of the Housing Authority of Savannah. And so I've been in contact with them for quite some time before this. I mean, we'll go back to the young lady, the 13-year-old that was killed in Yamacraw, about issues of lighting and issues of trees and light. For them, it's an issue of finance and being able to have those. I mean, in my perfect world, certainly in the reconstruction of Yamacraw when it happens, lights and cameras should be a part of that built environment. What are we able to do now in terms of, mobile lights, those types of things, mobile cameras to be able to make sure that people are safe and that we have those. But that's the responsibility of the Housing Authority. We will assist them in that space, but it's not our primary responsibility.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, good morning,
Hey,
Mayor.
good
Good to
morning.
be with you. So I know you said that you do not have an update in the Forsyth Park asset attack investigation, but
No.
that you've been in continuous contact with Ashley. Can
I
you
have.
provide any update on her recovery process? How's she been?
I think, obviously it's very clear that she suffered severe burns. The process, from what I understand, has been quite challenging. Her attitude has been amazing. The last time that we communicated was via text, and the last thing she said to me, "I'm blessed." I think that puts life in perspective. And so I've, as I've always committed that, hey, if there's anything that we can do beyond what we're doing, we're continuing to follow every lead. And so those updates will come from the police department on that end of it. From our end of it, just personally, I wanted to make sure that she knew we were thinking about her.
My next question for you, the Democratic Gubernatorial Forum is coming up this Thursday.
Yes.
So what would you say are the top priorities? Why is this so important for the state right now?
Well, I think, this is a unique opportunity for the state of Georgia. For 8 years, we've had the same governor, good or bad. I mean, so you have the opportunity now to elect your new governor. We will have a new governor. And so having these individuals in town certainly is important to me. I'm a member of the Democratic National Committee. I'm an executive member of the State Democratic Committee. I think it's important to come to Savannah because, I want the Republicans to come to Savannah too, because I want to make sure that the politics of Georgia are not just the politics of Metro Atlanta. The needs that we have here in Savannah are different and unique, and so we want to make sure that they are keeping Savannah and coastal Georgia on their visit list. I think it's significant that the first debate is here, and I hope that that momentum will carry, that folks will come here, both of the Republican and the Democratic persuasions, to seek the votes of the folks in Savannah and coastal Georgia, and hear their concerns and, make some promises about the things they will do for the things that are concerning to us.
And my last question, what do you hope the voters take away from this forum on Thursday?
I think it's early. Someone like me who's probably well versed in that, it's like a horse trading contest. I mean, you're coming, a lot of these folks, for people in our area, it's first time hearing them. So I think, I think that's a part of it. Then later on, you really get into drilling down. I think with this many candidates, it's really hard to drill down, but you'll see that as you get to into the meat of it, into qualifying, because no one is qualified yet. Some may not qualify. You'll see talking about the issues that are important, and people will kind of decide, the political ads will start coming out, and then the endless robocalls and the forums and this and this and that. So I think, again, I think this is just an initial date, so to speak, and I think that people will start coming out and, feeling them out as the year goes on. Again, you have a primary, and then you have the general in November. So it's a long way between now and November.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything, sir? Or anything else? All right. Yes, sir.
$2 million for roadway safety. How big of a difference do you think something like that makes during these parades and big events where people are coming into the city, and roadway safety, at least in my opinion, would be more important?
Well, I think the difference is that it's just volume. We just have more people, and so obviously for us, we're getting into our game time season. It was some cold days in Savannah. We're going to be at 78 degrees later on this week. We might actually break a record. And we know it gets better in February and March. It gets better, more people. So again, the more we can use those funds to create better outcomes in terms of pedestrian safety, I think it's better for everybody. Not only for those that are visiting us, but for those who live here every day. All right. Good. All right. Well, we're back on it, and we were hoping everyone has a great week. We certainly look forward to all of the MLK Observance Day activities that are coming here, and certainly we celebrate the 250th anniversary of our great nation. It should be said, although this is the 250th anniversary of our nation, our beloved city is almost 300. Thank you for being Savannah Strong. Did you see that thing?
Oh, yes, sir.
Did it make sense?
I still have to look at it. I was off last
He was
week.
really concerned about the parades.
Oh.
He loved the parades.